Hey everybody, it's Brady from BGWX, and tonight we're going to be covering our potential winter storm for, we don't know exactly where yet, but there is potential for somewhere along the East Coast to see some snow this weekend and tomorrow morning as well. So I'll be covering that briefly. First, we'll cover tomorrow morning. I covered it last night, my video, but my video cut off. I was very disappointed in the technical difficulties I had, so I'm going to try to keep this shorter so hopefully I can limit the loading errors that we had last time, or at least I had last time. So I'll switch over to some of the mesoscale models now so we can get closer in. So tomorrow, this is where you see, boom, zoom in right here. This is where a lot of our energy, you can see our vorticity right there, is happening tomorrow. And along that in between, that's kind of where that's kind of where our front is going to be moving. So if I turn on the temperature here, we can see the front. If I play this through, our front is going to be collapsing from the northwest to the southeast, and dry air is going to be pushing in colder and drier air in behind it, and that's going to put cold temps in place for Friday and Saturday. So expect those 2 days to be pretty cold. I wouldn't expect many people in the Northeast to feel all too warm when they go outside this weekend. That's one thing that's for certain. What's not for certain is tomorrow is how much dry air is going to be on that backside. So typically when you have a front, actually I'm going to do something on the fly here so I can show you what I'm talking about. Boom. Okay, so I don't have a pen, but I would like a pen to use for my iPad that I can draw on the screen. Sadly, I don't think I can, but I'm going to take a screenshot here, and we'll do something quickly on the fly, and then we'll get going with our Friday night to Saturday system. So, create something here, we'll drop something in. So this is what I got to use for now. But here's our front right around here, and you can see our vorticity that's happening right in here and all the way. It's a little bit less present up to the northeast, but you can see it's more stronger as we get a little bit farther south because there's just a little bit more convection there. So we'll cancel that out. But on the front, the complication with this setup tomorrow morning is, and why I've been skeptical the whole time, why you've seen less of those, those 3 to 6 inch solutions, why you've seen less of those now. Because along that front, right, we have, here's our confluence right here. We have some cold, really cold, dry air that's trying to work its way in from the northwest, and it's really going to be pressing. But we also have, here's our warm part of this front right here. That's going to be pressing against the front, and that's what's going to be able to create our lift along this front. That's frontogenesis 101. So that's going to be pressing. So there's going to be something there. Question is, how much cold, dry air is going to wrap onto this backside? We can see more colder, drier air come in if the vorticity signature is not as strong in the upper levels. Then we're not going to be able to expend as much out of the atmosphere. So that is one complication for tomorrow's setup, and that wouldn't surprise me if it underperforms for a lot of people. Well, underperforms if you were thinking you were going to get 2 to 4, 3 to 5 inches. Kentucky, they're going to do well tonight, probably Eastern Kentucky. That's one good advantage for Kentucky doing very well this winter. But in this setup we have right here, this is our front, and along this is where the precip is going to be happening. We don't know how much yet, but you can count on, I think, coating to, or anywhere from around a coating to 3 inches for a lot of people. Could be some higher end totals in Kentucky tonight where maybe 2 to 5 inches is possible, maybe a little bit more, hard to say, but I'm not expecting a lot to come out of tomorrow because usually these setups don't tend to go right because you have that really cold, dry air that is pressing from the northwest, and unless you have a very strong, or not a very strong, but a pretty stronger vorticity signature than what's being showed now by a lot of the models, it typically fails to come to fruition as we wish. So that is one thing I'm watching for tomorrow. So I think that covers my thoughts for there. I think that again, Cody at 3 inches, I think is a good bet for many people across the Northeast tomorrow, and even into the Mid-Atlantic as well. I think there could be some isolated 2 to 4. I think there will be a chance for some 2 to 4 inch totals, but I think for the most part we're talking about coding the 3 inch event, coding the 2 inch event for a lot of people. So not the most significant event, but something that's going to mess with the morning commute for sure. It's going to make those roads slick. In fact, more accidents happen when 1 inch of snow or less happens. That's when the most accidents happen all year, because you're not expecting too much and people feel they can go on the roads and they feel a little bit too powerful. But this is when the roads are most dangerous. Plus, that front comes through, that cold air. There's going to be rain regardless along this front early tomorrow morning before it transitions to snow. So when that happens, when that transition happens, will define how much snow you get as well. But when you get that precip to fall on the ground, you get those cold temps crashing in from the northwest. That's what's going to make conditions icy as well for that morning commute tomorrow. So that is a concern. If you can delay your trip potentially, and let the roads be treated, that would be highly advised for tomorrow morning. All right. So now let's switch over to the bigger forecast. So a lot of the 0Z models tonight have been more amplified, but again, this is still not enough for an I-95 Northeast snowstorm, or even Mid-Atlantic for right now. So this was the 0Z NAM. It's rather it's not, we're not seeing a phase right now happen. We're seeing the beginning stages of it. This is closer to when our phase happens, and it's just too late. Right now, it's too late. Can it change? It absolutely can. We still have 2.5 days. So a lot of people, they're going to write this off. They're going to write this off, and that's just what happens. Twitter is a place where people are just, they kind of they say almost too much, and some people have a lot of influence that not necessarily always should, and they influence a lot of thoughts. That's kind of how the more followers you have, the more you can influence. That's how social media works. But I'm not going to write this off, because the Carolinas into the Mid-Atlantic have a decent storm potential still with this. Southern New England, it's the window it's closing, I would say, but it's not closed yet. Technically, I'm not expecting anything as of right now, but I'm not closing that door yet. Just because from a meteorological perspective, that'd be stupid of me to make a forecast I don't have to make right now. So again, watching I-95 Northeast, but if I play the previous run, we can see here on the NAM, this is a more progressive look. This slides back, and you can see we have better, I can show this better if I go back here. So that's our front, but if I slide here, this is just the CMC run. This was the 0Z. I'll even show you. We got more amplification. I'll be able to show you more. A little bit more tilt in our axis in terms of the amplification. A more negative tilt. We were able to get this forces the precip shield a little bit more northwest, and from that point we can get a more expansive storm for the Mid-Atlantic and North Carolina. That's not what it shows on this run, but that's what we're looking for. If we're looking for snow on this run. Okay, anywhere from too progressive in terms of out to sea and all the way up to a southern New England snowstorm is technically possible. That's technically still possible. Will it happen? Well, we don't have a ton of time, but there's still a lot of time in this. Still a lot of time to go with this thing. So, I mean, you think about it, we're going to have still 8 different runs of the GFS in your 06Z, 12Z, 18Z, 0Z models. All those models that run 4 times a day, we're going to still have at least 8 of those still to go before we get to this event. So things can change. Will they? We don't know yet, but currently that's the area I'm watching, anywhere from the Carolinas to southern New England. That's where I'm watching right now. Now I think the Mid-Atlantic Carolinas are in a better place currently as modeled, but again, things can change. We can see here, though, this is what I'm watching for. Point out this southern stream right here. We can see this a little bit more interacted into this system. We want this to catch up to this, and this this piece can catch up to this if this is more reserved. That way we can get an earlier phase to happen. So instead of this look, we can get this look. That's the kind of look we want. We want a less flatter wave, so we if you want a southern New England snowstorm. A lot going on there, but cancel this all out. Boom, boom, boom. But this is what the CMC is showing. It was one of the more amplified solutions in the 0Z run, in the 0Z suite. But we'll open this up to the GFS. Now you can see the difference between the GFS. The CMC was a little bit more like this. The GFS is tilted a little bit more like this. So there's kind of the difference. The GFS is one of the weaker models right now. Something to always watch. Again, every single time the door for a northwest trend opens, when you have all this excess convection out here, this is always something to watch, because it's going to want to pull the storm a little bit further east, tug it out, and not let amplification happen inside here. It doesn't want to draw this vorticity inside of there as much as it should. That's always something to watch with models. It's just a bias. It inherently has. It's not going to change for a while. It's always something to watch that allows the infamous northwest trend, quote unquote, to happen. It doesn't always work out that way, though, when you have other things that complicate the forecast in terms of the general pattern that can force a northwest trend not to happen. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying a northwest trend is automatically going to happen, but that's something to always watch for in terms of why a northwest trend can happen, usually with these kind of systems. And as I mentioned, the GFS is a little bit more progressive, so we're forcing our snow potential gets more limited, and we force that in here in the Carolinas on this run. And even then, this most significant snowfall on this run is more here-ish. So there's still progress that needs to happen, even in the Carolinas and Mid-Atlantic, for them to want a snowstorm, let alone southern New England. So again, I'm not biased. I'm just simply pointing out what needs to happen. If you live in I-95, New York City, Long Island, southern New England, and you want a snowstorm with this event, you can move on, of course, but I'm still going to keep doing analysis because someone still has a decent shot to get snow out of this. So anywhere in here, yeah, or no, anywhere in here still has a shot to get a snowstorm, and I can even cut it off a little bit more. But this area will probably be more mix and sleet. So anywhere technically in there, I may have went a little bit too far, but it just as a general idea still has a shot. So I'm not gonna make any conclusions of what's gonna happen. Again, last night it got cut off, but I said the Mid-Atlantic, if you ran 100 simulations out of 1, I said I had the best chance. If you ran 100 simulations out of all those 100 simulations, I said the Mid-Atlantic would probably have more hits than the Carolinas and the southern New England. That kind of today we got a little bit more of a progressive look, I would say. Sorry for the stutter, but we got a little bit more of a progressive look, and that that didn't exactly change my thoughts too much, but it did make me think that the Carolinas and southern Mid-Atlantic, I'd say southern Mid-Atlantic has still a decent shot to make out on this event. I don't know if they will, but I'm not gonna BS you. That's for sure. I'm not gonna tell you something that's not gonna happen that I say will happen. But again, these are just still some general thoughts. We're still about 2.5 days out from this. 2.5 days, depending on where you live. So we got model runs, a lot of model runs still to go through. Currently, it doesn't look fantastic. The model runs, we do need some sizable changes, but really you tweak minor stuff. You tweak some minor stuff. I mean, if I go back to what I'm talking about initially. This is what I'm trying to talk about. So we have our trough. I'll be able to explain this better in 1 second. So we have our trough to the north currently. Boom. So we have our trough right here. Boom. If we stretch this out more, if we stretch this out more, and we make the front end of the trough a little bit more progressive. So that wasn't a good way to describe it. We make this is amplified, this is more progressive. We can make it a little bit less amplification in terms of the tilt in the trough on the front end. That can force us to stretch out this trough a little bit more, and we can allow, imagine this as our original trough and this is our next trough. This is just an over exaggeration to highlight what I'm trying to say. This tail end of the vort, naturally, which is this piece right here, that's our snowstorm right there. In order for this to get a better chance for this to come farther northwest, we want to reserve this energy more and amplify this. So we can amplify this part of our trough more if we can get this a little bit more progressive. So we're so close to the event now, it's hard to change this a lot, but now time stuff and real-time forecasts can change this. But there's still other things, our southern stream right here, this energy, how it interacts is still yet to be seen. Again, this is pretty messy, but if you're following along with me, it makes sense. At least a little bit, I hope. So that's some of the stuff I'm looking at in terms of run-to-run analysis. But yeah, we're not close enough to talk about snow totals for anywhere. We're not close enough to figure out where exactly a rain snow line is, although I will say, if you live in here, and maybe even here, if this does develop, I don't think there's going to be much precip here, down here in Georgia. But if you live here, there will be some sleet concerns probably, if we're able to amplify this a little bit more. Even regardless, I think warm air overrunning is going to cause some sleet and ice concerns for the Carolinas. But that's about all I got. I hope I didn't go too long for this one. I really hope I didn't, but that's basically all I got for this video. I hope this uploads. If not, I'm going to be very pissed, but that's about all I can hope for right now. So I hope you all have a good night. I'm going to try to do another discussion tomorrow night if I can. But for now, stay safe, y'all, and peace out.